Garden Report is brought to you by Prize Picks and the Game Time app.
Hey, Barry Manning here. Welcome to the Garden Report. A long week of games over, and the Celtics did succumb to the fifth game in 7 nights, losing to the Grizzlies 127-121. A super interesting game, whether the Smart return angle he plays in this game. Doesn't play much and shoots 1 for 11, but a loud ovation for him coming off the bench in his second game back here, second appearance. Celtics trail for much of the first half, and interesting strategy that Joe Mazzulla and others think is going to come into play again here. And Joe happy about the fact that the Grizzlies let Jrue Holiday shoot 26 shots in this game, 18 in the first half. They just completely left him on an island. Here's what the Celtics as a whole had to say about that strategy, including Jrue.
The strategy on Jrue, it's a bold strategy. I mean, he's an all-star. He shoots over 40% from three. I think that's a risky one. And I thought he handled it great. I mean, we empowered him. We want him to shoot any shot that he's open, and I think that's a huge gift because now we're going to see it again, and it's going to be great for us. So I'm really happy that they did that for us, and I thought the teammates did a great job empowering Jrue to shoot. Didn't make them all, but you move on. And but I'm glad that we saw that, and it's going to be good for us.
Yeah, probably. Teams will probably try, and I hope so. Like we got full belief in Jrue. Tonight maybe he didn't shoot the ball as much as he liked, but we got full belief in Jrue and any of those guys, and we're going to encourage it. So, yeah, we'll be ready if teams do decide that.
How did that catch you off guard that they were going to let you shoot?
It didn't catch me off guard. I feel like every team lets me shoot, even yesterday. Obviously, you got Jason and Jalen and people getting to the paint, and we're usually the recipient of that. But tonight, some of them went in, some of them didn't.
That was the most shots you've ever taken in a first half. How different did that feel compared to your role most nights?
A little different, but you got to keep on shooting. I'm too wide open not to. So, I honestly kind of liked it. It's been a while since I've been shooting that much. Just got to see one go in and two go in, and then from there, the floodgates will happen. But I'll continue to shoot.
So no Dalzell alongside here. It took me a few minutes. I feel like it took the Celtics a few minutes, too, to adjust to realize what was going on there. No one's really – I know Jrue said people do it all the time, but no one's done it to this degree. And it threw the Celtics off for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's always one of the guys that if teams have to, help off of somebody, they're comfortable doing it to him. But when you're doing what the Grizzlies did tonight, and that's really make a point of not guarding him, it's a psychological thing that you have to overcome at that point. And I think that hurdle is what we've seen. I mean, we've seen it derail guys' careers. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen to Jrue here. But when teams decide to try to kind of challenge you like that, it can go in a really kind of difficult direction for that team's offense. And so tonight it really hurt the Celtics. It hurt Jrue Holiday. I think that he decided he was just going to lean into it and shoot, and he just didn't have a great shooting night. And maybe in another night where, like, we see the Jaylen Brown Golden State Warriors game comes to mind, if he hits his first 3 or 4, like, we're not talking about this approach anymore. But it worked. And I think when teams play the Celtics right now, they're pretty desperate. They're trying to come up with something to bother them. And in this case, it was something creative. It was a little bit different. We haven't seen someone try it against Boston. And ultimately, it is a good experience for them to have because they're going to play different opponents. There's going to be different scenarios, and this is another one now that they can check off.
Yeah, and I think similar to the Warriors, they had a bunch of depth that they can lean on in this game. Multiple good rotations, and they didn't even use Zach Edey here, who's on their bench too in terms of size. You got Jay Huff, you got Jaren Jackson, who was the one ignoring Holiday most of the time, and he stonewalled Tatum various times in the paint. Massive game defensively for him, being able to drop back at the basket, and for everyone else on the Celtics, they sort of just had to keep feeding Holiday, and he was aggressive, especially into that second quarter, and didn't seem to have any problem taking these shots. He just missed a ton of them, and you look up after the game, he came in today 34% from 3 for the season, about 35-36 when left wide open. So I'm sure the Grizzlies looked at that and said, no Horford in this game. He's usually the team or the guy that teams are going to veer off of a little bit here, and put Holiday in a unique spot because you just don't – like I looked up at her in this game and I'm just like, what's he shooting this year? Like, what's he shooting? Because we're not even thinking about him half the time because his role's been so low usage here. I mean, he set a high for shots with the Celtics early in the third quarter here, so it was new, and we'll see if it happens again or how effectively other teams can do it here. But it is an interesting idea to just make him work. It's not even, let's leave Holiday wide open because he's going to miss. I think it's more like, let's make him take a lot of shots. Let's make him do a lot offensively because he just hasn't done that here.
And I think more than anything, it's let's not allow the Celtics to do what they want to do, which is just play against a defense that's switching and go 2-on-1 and find the open player. Like, let's just make that rhythm that is so second nature. I mean, it's so instinctive the way that they run their offense now. Every opposing coach that we see come in this building praises it. They're amazed by how the Celtics are never taking bad shots. They're always trusting the offense. Just throw them off their game a little. And even if that means, like, at the end of the day, when Jalen had those 5 threes the other night, who was that against? A couple weeks ago where Jalen had 5 threes in the first quarter, like, even though that he had that hot start, it was a tie game because ultimately they're at their best when nobody's taking the ball and kind of doing it all on their own. And so in this game, I thought that it just threw them off, and then you're overcompensating, and then you're kind of thinking through everything a little bit more. And Jaylen Brown, 5 shot attempts through 3 quarters, that's never a good sign either. And part of it was also the absence of Sam Hauser, the absence of Al Horford, guys that are always just kind of keys to that healthy Celtics offense.
Yeah, Porzingis hurt in this game as well, came back and had a strong second half. No Hauser made them go with Cade and Cornette for a stretch to start the fourth, which was strange. I didn't like that look much at all, and I think that added to some of the weirdness of this game offensively for the Celtics too. And the Grizzlies were just super athletic, and Marcus Smart, not a big part of what they did here in this game. In fact, he shoots 1 of 11 in his return back, but they still have all these different options that they can go to. Scottie Pippen Jr., Ja Morant hit 4 threes in a row to start this game. So there's some shooting luck going the other way. Celtics shot 63s in this game, and the Grizzlies, despite shooting only 33, hit 45% of them and rode that to a win. Jay Huff, impressive. Santi Aldama had some big shots here in this game too. And you just think, even though this ends up being an understated return for Smart, they're going to utilize him in the second matchup, I'm sure. And who knows? We could see these two teams here in June. We've talked about 7 teams having those markers of a champion. 45 of the last 45 champions have been top 7 in something and no lower than 18th in the other category, offense, defense, and they're one of those teams.
Yeah, I mean, they were a very impressive team. I thought that as well as poorly the Celtics struggled at points, Memphis also just had a really good game. And as you're looking across this roster, it's unrecognizable to last year's. So it almost feels like we're watching a team that was in hibernation last season. Right. But they actually have a pretty well-balanced team. Ja Morant's one of the most impressive performances that I've seen against the Celtics this season. I thought that he was really phenomenal offensively. And so there's a lot to like about this team. Even if Marcus Smart is not a huge part of it, they have a lot of good pieces. Jaren Jackson was phenomenal, especially down the stretch. So yeah, a lot to like about this team. And would they be my pick to come out of the West? Probably not. But I wouldn't have picked Dallas last year. So we've seen more surprising outcomes. And certainly I think that if you are going to face them, this game gave you a lot to think through and a lot to kind of work with.
Well, Celtics going to be off till Wednesday. They finally get some relief here schedule-wise before that rescheduled game against the Pistons on Thursday. So we'll have a layoff here as well. Some podcasts, I'm sure, throughout the week. You got Boston. Check that out with Noah Dalzell. We'll get some guests on the Garden Report here as well to recap this first quarter of the Celtics season. A successful one, but as Noah said, a lot to think about coming out of this one, and stuff to look forward to as well in some of the bigger matchups into January here. Christmas Day coming up as well against Philly. So we'll have all that covered and more. But for now, Celtics lose to the Grizzlies 127-121. Check out our sponsors here, Prize Picks. It's the code CLNS over there to get a bonus football Sunday today. So go set your lineups and go get that bonus with the code CLNS. Game time. We want to go to the Pistons game on Thursday. Whatever games are going on across the league right now, it's all available over on Game Time. Get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply with that code CLNS. Check out HelloFresh right now as well. Get free breakfast for life over there. And check out Built Rewards right now for rewards on your rent. For Noah Dalzell, I'm Bobby Manning. That's it here from TD Garden. Celtics, Grizzlies. We'll see you soon on the Garden Report.